Welcome to Season 2 of the Empower to Heal podcast. I'm your host, Dina Tipsherini, and I'm so excited to take you on a journey through the ups and downs of motherhood. Together, we are going to learn, prepare for, and unearth all things motherhood, because I believe that exposure and awareness can lead to empowerment. So buckle up for an unfiltered, raw, and insightful journey. Are you on the brink of parenthood, eagerly anticipating the arrival of your little one? Take a proactive step towards preparing for the whirlwind journey ahead by joining our waitlist for the Empowered First Year Postpartum Prep course. Designed with your needs in mind, this online 4-week program offers a comprehensive blend of education, skill building, and community support to guide you through the demanding postpartum season. Don't navigate this transformative time alone. Click the link in the show notes below to join our next cohort and embark on your journey to parenthood with confidence. Hello, you beautiful souls. Welcome back to this episode in Season 2 on the Empower to Heal podcast. I am so grateful to share space with you today. Thank you for tuning in and connecting. Today's topic is all about building what I call protective factors in the postpartum season. And before we get started, I just want to shout out to what a beautiful day it is here. I am sitting in my office. I created this little podcast nook in here for us, and it has a little bit of green foliage coming down that I should probably water. And I'm sitting on a trunk that was my grandparents'. My grandfather wallpapered the trunk, and my grandmother gifted it to me after they had had it for decades and decades and decades. My grandfather passed when I was a little girl, so it's very special to me, and I keep it in my office. I have 2 of these trunks in my house, and it's just stunning and beautiful. And I'm sitting on it on a nice little pillow right now, all snuggled up for this beautiful episode with you on the podcast. And I have this like huge 3-panel window in my office, which lets in the most beautiful light. And I can see how gorgeous it is out today. I got to spend some time in my garden this morning. We've been releasing ladybugs at night to try and do some pest control on our garden. And we go out there every morning and search for the ladybugs, like, are they still there? And it was just such a beautiful morning out there. We had some poppy flowers blooming and snapdragon, our snapdragon garden. It's like call it my volunteer garden. I didn't plant it. They just reseeded and came back. They are so prolific and beautiful. And we have some big zucchini growing and lettuce and strawberries. It's just Arizona right now in the spring is my absolute favorite. It's starting to get warm. So we're in our 90s, and I think we're about to reach triple digits. I want to say this weekend it's called for 100 degrees, but it's already swimming season here. So my son has been swimming almost every day for the past week. It's still cold, let me tell you. I'm not getting in, my husband is. I've gotten in a couple of times, but it's nice. This is the nice weather where we're going on hikes and enjoying the desert in full bloom. And I want to just take a moment to honor the beauty of that, because that is a protective factor for our mental health and motherhood, to be able to sit and just notice the beauty around us and feel fulfilled in the moment. I was telling my husband the other day, I was in like this. Have you guys ever had a downward spiral in your brain where you're just like, one thing happens after the next, and your brain is just like spiraling out? Well, I had one of those moments and I was tearful, and I told my husband, like, this is my life's work. This is my purpose. I'm here to support people and in finding the power within themselves to heal, and to use my experiences and my knowledge to do that. And my knowledge just happens to be around mental health, and my experiences in motherhood really tie in that struggle with my mental health journey. And I feel like this is my life's work and my purpose. And it fulfills me. And I drew a card. So yes, I have oracle cards. I'm a little woo-woo, and I absolutely love that because it helps ground me and be present and open to seeing the world around me and being intentional. And I drew a card this morning, and the card talked about fulfillment. And it said in there that fulfillment is not something you chase. It's not something you strive for, because if you do, you're always going to have the next thing that you're trying to do to be fulfilled. It said that fulfillment is being in the present moment and seeing the beauty and allowing that to fulfill you. And that just really hit home for me. I I am a one woman show over here. This podcast is written and recorded and produced, edited. All of the material for it is created by me in between my spare time as a therapist and a coach, which is not much spare time at all. And it cuts into motherhood sometimes. And so I feel the pressure of that. And it was such a good reminder that it's not what I produce and the frequency that I produce it that matters. It's how intentional I am and transparent I am with you. And it's taken me a while to get to this point. And so I want to share some tricks. I want to share some insights, some gold nuggets with you that have really been foundational for me in transitioning out of this like go, go, go mindset all the time and reminding myself to step back down into being present and seeing what really matters in life. So, when I started out my motherhood journey, I was a full-time mental health professional, and I left for maternity leave and was offered a director job at the outpatient clinic that I worked at when I returned from work. And that was like a big ask, a big request. And I felt honored for it, like even being considered and asked to do it. Like I didn't apply for it. It was just something that they thought I would be a good fit for. And that was the perfect example of how I am as a human. I have always been an achiever and overachiever. The second that like I show up how I am and deeply loving and work my butt off. And there's a lot of reward that comes with that. And that inherent reward was more work usually, but work that I was proud of and passionate about. And being an achiever is kind of like an addiction. You always are striving for the next thing, and you're rarely feeling fulfilled. Oh, that card coming up again. You're rarely feeling fulfilled in just what you're doing. Like there's always that next thing that presents itself for you. And as an achiever or an overachiever, it can be really hard to give yourself permission to slow the heck down and just be present in motherhood and not have to do all of the things. So, that being said, how do we transition from this constant achiever mindset, which I feel like is what the media portrays as a good mom or a happy mom, is a mom who can do it all. A mom who can work like they don't have kids and they can mother like they don't have a job. And a mom who can make everything from scratch and keep their kid happy. And a mom who feeds their kid all of the healthy things in the world and still also manages to take their kid to all the parks or sporting events or activities or extracurricular. A mom who can homeschool their kid and can also like help their kid have a well-rounded community and support system. A mom who can do it all with a smile on their face, dinner on the table, and a clean house. And you guys, that's just not real. And I strived for that for so long. Bits and pieces I was okay with like falling to the wayside, but always trying to live up to these standards of what motherhood is in a society that has totally misunderstood what motherhood is bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. So, what is motherhood? Motherhood is something we should be sharing in community. Motherhood is a developmental stage of life that we enter into where we are intertwined with our child and our brain is going through massive changes. It's also a shift in our identity and who we are. And that shift can really jar us from feeling like we're connected to things that used to matter in our life. And it can make us it can lead us to this feeling of wanting more, wanting something different, feeling like our days are kind of like wah, 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 like dragging on or same thing over and over again. And that didn't fulfill me as an achiever in motherhood. And I think it contributed to some of my anxiety and depression and difficulty just being happy and present where I was. So, I want to share about these protective factors that can really support us in being present, in experiencing motherhood in the ways that we've been dreaming about, in navigating through the inevitable ups and downs so we can build the resilience that we need in motherhood in the community that's aligned to support us in it. And you guys don't have to take notes right now. All of this information is going to be in the show notes below. And I created this really cute, special, reflective journal for you. It's a postpartum reflection journal, and it's going to be a free thing that you can download. You'll get the link in the show notes for the podcast below. But this journal is going to guide you in your postpartum season for evaluating how each day is going in a really simple, easy way, and then reflecting on your week that you just had every week to see what areas can you improve your protective factors. It is so cute and so easy to use. I think you're going to love it. So go ahead and grab that download when you're done listening today. Okay. So these protective factors, I feel like they're the keys for our mental health. And they don't just apply to motherhood, they apply to all stages of life, but they're really things that we need to focus on in building in motherhood. And so the first and foremost of them is education and resources, which is why I have this podcast is a space to bring you information, education, resources, things at your fingertips. There's no barrier to entry for a podcast except for a device to listen to it on, right? And it doesn't cost money. It's easy to access. They're easy to listen to, easy to find. This podcast is my way of creating space in this world to provide real education and information of what we need to know in motherhood, in parenthood, preparing for motherhood and parenthood as we navigate this life-changing journey. So, education and resources, number one, we need to know what we're walking into. Having a baby is not just us walking into like, oh, yay, I get to like snuggle my baby all the time. It is us awakening a new version of ourselves, birthing a new version of ourselves, and navigating the most complex season of life with the least amount of skill possible. Like, if you've never been a mom before and you're stepping into motherhood, like you don't have the skills, even if you think you do, right? Even if you've been in childcare for a long time, like this is next level. And we have to figure it out. And so being prepared around what is our brain going to be doing? What can we expect? What is normal? What is not normal? What resources are at my disposal to support me? How can I prevent having a hard time? Right? That matters. And so this whole episode is going to provide you a lot of education around what you can do to prevent and decrease either prevent or decrease the intensity of the struggles you may experience in motherhood with your mental health and your wellness. So, outside of education and resources, let's talk about our partnership and our community and support system. So, partnership, community, support system, these all live in the world of how am I supported? How are the people in my life surrounding me, professionals, family members, friends, how are they showing up in a way that helps me feel supported so I'm not doing this alone? The majority of moms, like 90 something percent of moms, report feeling lonely in motherhood. It's not the first time I've shared that statistic with you. It's shocking to me though. I can relate to that. I'm not very good at making friends because I'm socially awkward and I'm not good at small talk and I get anxious and I don't follow through all the time. And so if you haven't been my longtime friend, like it can feel hard starting out a new friendship. But developing the support system I needed in motherhood is invaluable. And it starts with knowing yourself and knowing what you need, or guessing what you need, or asking what others needed so that you can infer around what you might need. And always erring on the side of caution, not to belittle our capabilities, but to create opportunity for us to have what we need in case what we thought doesn't cut it. So, for example, I have absolutely amazing parents. I have a sister who would die for me, and I would die for her. I have best friends who are like blood related siblings, like they are my family. I have the most caring and loving husband who would do anything to support me. And I have resources. I had resources to pay for a doula. And I went through a midwife group and I attended prenatal yoga classes and I had all of that around me. And I had friends who set up a beautiful meal train and I had a baby shower that was not your typical baby shower. And it was really supportive and beautiful with a lot of love. And I had this support system that I felt like was solid. And then I had my baby. And I had my baby, and that journey was a lot, right? Getting him into the world was hard. The first few weeks were really difficult. My mom helped me get to appointments and schedule appointments and resolve insurance issues and questions and make sense of things that didn't make sense to me for the first week. Um, our team became much bigger after my son was born, including lactation consultants that I wish I had met previously, um, chiropractors, physical therapists, oromyofascial therapists, craniosacral therapists, the pediatrician's office, all of these formal, I call them formal because we pay for them, formal supports, paid supports to help me in keeping my baby alive and caring for him, right? And um I was lonely and I shut the door and I was like, enough is enough. I'm getting irritated. Um I think a misconception when you have a baby is that you need, like, people need to come in and they want to hold the baby and they want to visit. And then they're giving you all this advice. And the second the advice hits when you didn't ask for it and you're already overwhelmed is the second I closed the door, right? I was like, nope, no more. I have no space left. If you tell me things that are unsolicited, I have no space left. If you tell me I'm doing something wrong, I have no space left. I'm figuring this out. And the support that we need to develop is we need to be mothered ourselves so that we can mother our baby. Yes, we might want advice. Let us ask for it, or ask us if you can give it. Wait for that permission before you exchange that information. And we need to be nurtured and taken care of and mothered so that we have the space within ourselves to give that to our babies. We need help getting into the shower and knowing that we can shower. We need help nourishing our body and feeding our body. We need help getting out the door to an appointment or walking around the block or opening the window to let light in. We need someone to brush our hair, to comfort us, to mother us in that season. That's what support looks like. One of the most supportive moments I had was with my best friend, and I was sitting on the couch and I was a puddle. I was just tearful. And I don't even think I had a bra on. I was trying to nurse. I couldn't figure out the nursing. It was painful. Um, I was also pumping. I was just a mess wearing an adult, like, I don't know, like a frozen diaper to like heal my sewed up perineum. And my best friend just sat next to me. She didn't say anything. She put her arm around me sometimes. She gave me tissues if I needed them. She just sat there while I was literally a puddle of mess. And she loved me. That's all. She didn't need to say anything. She didn't need to have ideas. She didn't need anything but to be next to me because I felt so vulnerable, so overwhelmed, so tired, so confused, so scared. I was processing a lot. My body was healing. I was like bloody and leaking milk, and my nipples were falling off, and I was a freaking wreck. And I'm not alone in this. So many moms feel this way. And she just sat with me. And I learned that's what you need to ask for support. Who's going to be there to put their arm around you or to bring you a glass of water or to snuggle up to you while you're a mess and you just want to be held while you're holding your baby? What does support look like? How frequently do you need it? I wish I had more support. I wish I knew how to ask for support. I'm somebody who has a hard time asking for help, right? Like I don't want to inconvenience you. You have your own life going on, right? Like you're probably busy with work. I don't want to bug you. I don't want to interrupt your sleep. Like I can handle myself. Don't think that I can't handle myself. I've got this. These are all the things I was saying in my head that stopped me from asking for help. And then when my husband, my sweet, precious husband, would wonder, like, what do you need? What can I do? I didn't know how to answer him outside of like, can you bring me some food, please? Like, or I need a shower and I don't want to shower with my baby, but I need to know like he's safe and he's not crying while I'm in the shower. Like, can you help me do that? Like simple things. Can you run a sitz bath for me? Um, but outside of like tasks, I didn't know how to ask for what I needed. I didn't know how to say like, I'm lonely and I need someone to sit with me at least every day for the next couple of weeks. Like, can someone just join me for an hour and sit with me and hang out? Um, so learning what you need to ask for and then learning how to communicate that with your partner is huge. Now, another protective factor, which is a controversial one, is sleep. Whew, everybody says sleep when your baby is sleeping, right? There's that common thing. And then there's these really hilarious memes throughout social media where it's like your baby wearing and your baby sleeping while you're washing dishes. And so like you just lay down on the floor and go to sleep. Um, you're driving, you pull over and take a little nap because your baby fell asleep in the car seat. Like there's these funny memes making fun of it. And there's like reality to both sides. Like the joke of like, that's funny. I can't just sleep every time my baby's sleeping. And the reality of like, we have to prioritize sleeping when our baby sleeps and finding that happy medium. And so sleep is a huge one because every single mother who doesn't have like a mother's helper or somebody that's taking care of the baby in the middle of the night or like a wet nurse, I don't know, like every single parent goes through clinical sleep deprivation. Clinical sleep deprivation. And so figuring out your sleep is huge and important. It can feel like like inevitable, like this task, I don't know the right word. It can feel like this task that you're never going to be able to accomplish, like featless task. And it's not. That is part of the exhaustion talking when we're like, I can't figure this out. My baby's waking up every so often. They have to eat every 2 or 3 hours. I am their source for food. How the heck am I going to do this? There's ways to do it. There's ways to do it. And the first thing is to figure out and know your body. Like, are you the type of person who can nap? How many hours do you need to function? Do they have to be out like consecutive hours or not? Is there a chance for you to get deep REM sleep at least once a night? These are things that you got to ask yourself and find out. So we talked about partnership. We talked about community and support system. We talked about sleep. The next one is our mindset. Now, many of y'all have probably heard of the term a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the mindset you need in motherhood. A growth mindset is a mindset that is not constantly evaluating and assessing for failure, but it is seeing opportunities as growth and supporting you and having grace in moving through it. It's a curious mindset. It is a grace filled mindset. It is a resilient mindset. And developing a growth mindset, you are never too young or too early to start developing a growth mindset for motherhood because motherhood is a trip. It puts your body to the limits. It restructures your brain in the biggest way that you have experienced since you were like less than the age of 5. It messes with your sense of identity. It shifts your hormones like crazy. And you are constantly being needed and wanted and touched and everything. You are constantly on, just all the time. You're sleeping and you're on. You like sleep with one eye open or one ear open, right? So, how do you develop a growth mindset? How do you strengthen your mindset? How do you start preparing your brain for navigating when you don't have control? How do you regulate your nervous system and communicate to your body that you're safe when you're stressed? How do you shift out of fight or flight mode? How do you shift the thoughts in your brain from being defeating thoughts and, quite frankly, mean thoughts to thoughts that give yourself grace and that see potential and that see trial and error not as failure, but as progress and as motherhood? How do you see an opportunity to create a sense of safety in a moment where everything feels like it's out of your control? Creating a mindset like this is an invaluable skill and tool to support you in motherhood. This really leads us into the next factor, which is your sense of safety. This is huge because the majority of us who struggle with our emotions and our mood and our energy in motherhood have a common thread, a common theme that we all have. And it's our sense of safety, or our baby's sense of safety was threatened, in danger at some point, or we perceived it at some point. And this impacts how we're able to show up and be present. It triggers the alarm in our brain to go into fight or flight mode. We start scanning for risks. Intrusive thoughts start creeping in. All of these things that take us away from being present and enjoying these infant moments start like pouring down upon us. And so, how do we create a sense of safety? And creating a sense of safety can be a few things. It can be physically creating a sense of safety, but it can also be emotionally creating a sense of safety, mentally creating a sense of safety, spiritually, energetically creating a sense of safety. There's so many things we can do to manipulate our experiences and our sense of safety in the world around us. And we need to be creating and investing time in exploring what supports us in feeling safe and communicating that to our partner, our support system, our community, so that we can co-create this sense of safety. So, an example of this, something that felt safe for me was, and this might sound counterintuitive to some people, but do not disrupt my flow during labor and delivery. I don't want to know how far dilated I am. I don't want to know how far effaced I am. I don't want to know if there's a problem or a struggle unless like my husband deems it necessary for me to weigh in. If y'all can figure that out without me being a part of it, please do, because I do not want to disrupt my flow for birth. My mindset is sacred. And the second you start putting doubt and fear into my mindset and my safe space that I'm creating, I lose that sense of control and that ability to regulate myself. And then my amygdala goes, boo. In my brain, your amygdala is the part of your brain responsible for your stress response system. It lights up. And I start going into fight, flight, or freeze mode, and my body starts getting tense and overwhelmed. And I'm doing everything the exact opposite of what I'm trying to do to bring my baby into this world, right? Same is true in motherhood. I do not want people putting toxic crap into my brain all of the time because then I cannot regulate. But let me tell you, I am also addicted to probably adrenaline and cortisol. I'm addicted to stress. I'm used to living in stressful moments, in stressful environments, working under stress. I'm used to being on call, managing crisis. I'm used to this. And so when I don't have it, my brain craves it and tries to create it. And so I communicate to my support system. Like, I know that I like to scroll and read the news and what's going on around us and understand the wars that are happening and the risk and all the politics going on in our country. But can you help me be accountable to not do that, please? Because it is really setting off my nervous system. Also, creating safety in your home, right? I had to, because of my intrusive thoughts, because of my anxiety, I had to do a lot of things to create a sense of safety. One of those was we co-slept for a while. And then when my son was bigger and he was kicking us all the time, we put a little toddler bed in our bedroom so that we were all in our room and that felt safe to me. And then finally, at the age of 6, I felt ready for him to be in his own room, but with a baby monitor and our dog there to protect him. And then I also did Reiki over him every night. I still do Reiki. Um, but I do things to control a sense of safety, to allow myself to feel like, okay, he is safe. I can rest. If he needs me, I will hear it. Our dog's in the room. She will sound the alarm if something's unwell, right? Like the smoke detectors are on. We have the nest detectors in our house. They're very loud and they pick up on a ton of things and they communicate to each other. Like I did all these things to create a sense of safety. And I'm privileged. I understand that I'm privileged to be able to do this. But also, like this is what worked for me and my family. And so what's going to work for you to create a sense of safety? How are you going to communicate that to the people around you? Okay, let's go into nutrition and movement. Okay, this is another protective factor. It's like a 2 for 1. Our body and our brain are not separate. Contrary to what westernized medicine will tell you when they send you to counseling services for your brain and they send you to the GI doctor for your tummy and they send you to the cardiologist for your heart and they send you to the podiatrist for your foot, like our body and our brain and all of this works in harmony. And when one is off, it affects others. I share this because it sounds like common sense, but I deeply believe that we have been trained to see our body as parts. And when we have a stomach ache, we don't always think that it's related to our emotions. We think it's only directly related to what we ate, right? Oh, it's something I ate, or I have a bug, I'm getting sick. But that's not true. When we have a backache or a shoulder ache or a migraine, those can be somatic expressions, physical expressions of emotional experiences. Also, just like how I'm explaining your brain can impact how your body feels, your body can impact how your brain is functioning and how you feel emotionally and energetically. So, a really good example of this is if you go to the fair, say like you're going to the fair with your family and there is fried food everywhere and there's sugary food and just crap food everywhere that just is full of the sugars and the salts and the fats that just make your brain light up with happiness, right? Momentary happiness. And you indulge. You taste the things and get the treats and you indulge. And then you feel sluggish and you're tired like an hour later. You don't have energy to keep walking around the fair anymore. You feel a little bit more antsy and irritable. When your kids were haywire and excited and running around before, that was fun. And now it's getting a bit much. It's getting old. And you just aren't feeling your best anymore. Well, you just fed your body something that communicated to your brain joy and then crash, right? And when we do that, our brain has effects from it. And if we continue to do that, maybe we indulge every day. We have a sweet every day, or we're really addicted to potato chips, or man, like, I don't know what it is for you. Whatever your pleasure is, to eat or drink or smoke, that can directly impact your brain and it can have ongoing effects. And we know of something called, so the gut microbiome, we call our gut our second brain. And we know that our gut is responsible for creating hormones. And we know our gut is responsible for creating serotonin. We know our gut is responsible for creating the feel-good hormones in our body. And when our gut is not healthy and the microbiome of our gut is not balanced, we feel it emotionally. And our gut can create anxiety. Our gut can create depression. Our gut can create overwhelm. Our gut can create panic. Our gut can create what we call psychiatric symptoms, right? And being aware of this helps us understand, how do we heal our gut? How do we eat in ways that nourishes our body? Especially in the postpartum season or the year following childbirth, we need to be eating in a way that nourishes our body healing, our muscles contracting and coming back together, growing, healing tears, shedding the rest of the lining that's going out as we're bleeding for 6 weeks after we give birth, producing milk to feed our baby, regaining our strength, coming back together. We need to nourish our body physically, and we need to nourish our body emotionally, mentally, energetically. And having a healthy gut microbiome is so important. And I've worked with parents who have started a probiotic or started eating probiotic rich foods, and their anxiety decreased to a state where they felt like they were good. They didn't need ongoing support. That's how powerful it is. And movement is another factor in this. When we move our bodies, we create new hormones to be released. When we move our bodies, our energy shifts and moves. Literally, the energy in our body is shifting and moving, and we feel that energy shift. And so moving your body after you have a baby is important. You can't lay in bed forever. Get up and go to the bathroom. Do a little stretch. I do my sunshine arms and my ocean breath. If you've listened to my stuff for a while, you know what that means. See the sun, go outside, smell the fresh air, walk through the garden, go get the mail. If you can, do it. I'm not saying go exercise. I'm not saying go lift weights. If that serves you and you're ready and your body's healed for that and you're cleared for that, go for it. But simply moving your body is enough. Walking through your house is enough. Stretching your body is enough to feel the outcomes of it and just understand how that impacts your mental health. Okay, so we've talked about education and resources. We've talked about partnership. We've talked about community and support systems, our mindset, our sleep, our sense of safety, our nutrition, and our movement. These are the keys to supporting your health in the postpartum season, in motherhood, in life in general. These are life keys, you guys. When you can organize this in your life and find a pattern and a recipe that works for you, that touches on all of this, you will find your flow. You will start trusting your intuition. You will stop scrolling for information on how to parent or how to correct something or change something. And you'll start trusting your mom intuition and your instincts. You'll feel more connected to your body. You'll be able to regulate through stress. You'll build that resilience so you can get through the hard moments and come back to the good moments. So the hard moments don't have to stay and linger. You'll be able to feel present and sit with your baby or your child day in and day out with routines that could feel boring before, but now you find pleasure and joy in being present and slowing down. And then you might be more interested in incorporating new hobbies, like me making my chapsticks. It took me a while to get there. But these are powerful things you can prepare for. You can prepare for it while you're pregnant. And you can do it at any point in time throughout motherhood. It's never too late. So take this information, run with it. I'm going to have a little postpartum reflection journal that will have all of this information in there. In the beginning, it'll have this cute little graphic to identify all the different protective factors and a little bit of information on each protective factor that will support you throughout completing the journal. You're going to absolutely love it. So go ahead and go to the show notes below and download it for free. And if you're ready to dive in and you think you need some more help, I'm your girl. I can support you. The Mamas Club can hold space for you. The Empowered Mamas Club is an online community that meets weekly, and it's a monthly membership. We come together and we heal together. We heal together. We touch on all of these different protective factors, and we support one another in building and strengthening those protective factors. And we become what you need and what you're wanting and looking for in motherhood. It's a beautiful space to heal and grow. Also, if you're pregnant and you're like, all right, guys, I need to dive in deep around creating a plan for my postpartum season, and you want to touch on each one of these factors that I've talked about today. If that's you, I have a program for you. It is a low cost, easy to attend online program. It's 4 weeks long where you get this information and you learn it. It's recorded. You learn with me. You gain insight and understanding on how to strengthen each one of these protective factors. You get a workbook that you fill out and you complete as you do this. And you do this with your partners and your support systems so that you can have what you need when you finish the 4 weeks. And you have something to go back on, a comprehensive plan to go back on and support you in healing in the postpartum season. If you're interested, I will drop the link for that as well in the show notes below for this podcast episode. And I'm here for you. I look forward to seeing you guys in the community and on the next podcast episode of the Empower to Heal podcast. Sending you love. Bye. It has been an honor to share this space with you today on the Empower to Heal podcast, where we illuminate the strength you have within yourself to heal. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our upcoming episodes, and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform.